Hello there, guys. I know right now we're all probably feeling pretty anxious. I know I am, at least. There's a lot of uncertainty going on in the world right now, and for me, that's starting to etch in a little. I'm filming this talking bit on a Tuesday, and just yesterday my state governor made an announcement about more restrictions going into place statewide to help combat the virus. And though I think it's about time those were put in place, it does feel a bit surreal to, watch government officials shut down your state. It feels a little bit like we're living in a novel. And though I am someone who loves fantastical worlds and says often that I would give anything to live within my favorite video games, it's another thing to start living as though you are a part of them. And so I think it's pretty safe to say that a lot of you are probably feeling similar to how I am presently. So I thought I'd share with you guys one of the ways I'm trying to combat this feeling of uncertainty and just anxiety. Because really, I think all of us need a bit of a distraction right now, and this is the part that I can do to help with that. Besides, some of you may have these ingredients at home and get to try it out and find a new recipe that you love. So, without further ado, today I will be showing you how to make chamomile sweet rolls, which are, yes of course, inspired by Skyrim. Who's surprised at this point? Chamomile is quickly becoming one of my most used herbs presently, especially with everything that's going on right now. It's a wonderfully calming herb and one that'll always hold a special place in my heart. It's very commonly used in spells for peace, tranquility, or purification, and it's my go-to for anti-anxiety. But it has tons and tons of uses. Often I'll throw it in a ritual bath before performing spell work because of its purifying properties. You could also sprinkle a bit in your wallet to attract money, or wash the thresholds of your home with an infusion of chamomile to keep out unwanted energies. Really, the uses are pretty much endless with chamomile, and I've found myself using it pretty much on the daily lately. And because of this excessive use, my chamomile sweet rolls were born. Alrighty, now that we got some of those other uses out of the way, let's jump into what you'll need for this recipe. There are 3 sets of ingredients for this recipe: the chamomile milk, the batter, and the icing. So first off, for the chamomile milk, you'll need 1 cup of milk and 3 chamomile tea bags. I will note here that you don't necessarily have to use chamomile if you don't have chamomile or would rather work the spell for something else you need in your life. But this is the point in the spell where you'll put specific herbs for whatever intention you are seeking into. That wasn't English, but I'm pretty sure you got what I meant. At least I hope. Next, for the batter, you'll need 1 2/3 cups of flour, 1 cup of sugar, 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda, 1 1/2 teaspoons of baking powder, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 3/4 cups of butter, melted, 3 egg whites at room temperature, 1 tablespoon of vanilla extract, 1/2 cup of sour cream, and 1/2 cup of that chamomile milk we talked about earlier. Then lastly, for the icing, you'll need 3/4 cups of powdered sugar, 1 tablespoon of chamomile milk, and 1/4 teaspoon of vanilla extract. Now, in regards to the icing, that's kind of just where I start, and I will tweak it a whole bunch until I'm happy with it, but I'll talk about that more later. Now, beyond the ingredients, I do use a mini bundt tin. I use this simply because I want to create something that looks like a Skyrim sweet roll. You're welcome to just use a cupcake tin. That will work perfectly well. You also may wish to use a kitchen witch spoon if you have one. And lastly, I would recommend performing this spell during a waning moon, simply because we are working to decrease the energies at play right now. Though, if you are needing to do this spell during a waxing moon, feel free to change up the wording to make it apply to a waxing moon. Now, to begin, I start by prepping my tin. That rhymed. That was unintentional, but I'm gonna take it anyways. Personally, I prep my tin with butter and sugar. Now, the sugar will create a bit of a crisp edge on the cake, which I really enjoy. But I know not everybody's into that, so if you'd like it to stay really soft and squishy, just prep your tin with butter and flour. Now, once that's done, it's time to start making the chamomile milk. The process of it is wildly simple, but I would recommend spending a lot of time meditating on what you wish to put into it, because this is the main area of intent ingredientness place, if you get what I'm saying. So spend some time with it. But anyways, to begin, you'll pour your 1 cup of milk into a small saucepan and bring it to a boil. Then add your 3 chamomile tea bags and let them steep. While it's steeping, this is when I like to meditate on my intent and what I'm wishing to put into this spell. Just spend some time with it and stir your intentions into the mixture. Once that's done, I will set it aside and move on to mixing together my dry ingredients. Once again, this is the 1 2/3 cups of flour, 1 cup of sugar, 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda, 1 1/2 teaspoons of baking powder, and 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Then just mix them all together and set it aside. And pull out a new bowl to start with your wet ingredients. I highly recommend separating your wet and dry ingredients. It really does help create such a beautiful final product, and really, what's one more dish? Here you'll combine that 3/4 cup of butter, melted, 3 egg whites at room temperature, 1 tablespoon of vanilla extract, 1/2 cup of sour cream, and 1/2 cup of chamomile milk. And here's where the spell really starts to take place. As you pour the chamomile milk into your mixture, speak this incantation. Worry and fear, you have no home here. Feel your personal power build as you say this statement. Then once you've said the incantation, mix your wet ingredients all together and pull out your dry ingredients. Pour the wet into the dry and begin stirring. As you stir, say, "By each stir, my worries blur." Once again, let your personal power build here. Then, once everything's mixed together, pour it out into your tin and pop it in the oven at 350 for 18 to 20 minutes. Once your timer dings, pull the cakes out and let them cool off. It'll be really tempting to pull them out right now, but just wait, be patient, let them cool, they'll be ready soon. Usually while I'm waiting for them to cool off completely, I will spend some time meditating on my intent and building more of my personal power. Then once they're cool enough to pop out of the tin, I'll pop them on out, let them cool a second longer, and then I trim off that little dome they get. You don't have to trim off the dome. I just want them to look like perfect little Skyrim cakes, and that's why I do it, but not a necessary thing. Once that's done, I'll lay them out all pretty and make my icing. Once again, it's 3/4 cups of powdered sugar, 1 tablespoon of chamomile milk, and 1/4 teaspoon of vanilla extract. As I said earlier, that's my starting recipe. I never end there. Usually I'll add a little bit more powdered sugar and some more chamomile milk and maybe even a little bit of vanilla extract and honestly sometimes a pinch of salt. But usually once I'm done fussing with that, the rolls have cooled off enough to be adorned with the icing. And here's the final step in the spell. As you pour the icing onto the cakes, repeat after me. With the completion of this spell, all is well. And as you say this, release all of that personal power you've built up into the cakes, into the spell. This is where it really takes effect. Enjoy these chamomile sweet rolls whenever you are in need of some calmness in your world. And then you're done. That's just about all I have for you today with this spell. I have quite a few projects in the works now for you guys in the future, but right now I needed to spend some time in the kitchen working on some good old-fashioned kitchen witchery. It's where I find a lot of peace and calm, and that's what I needed in my world right now. So I figured why not bring you guys along, because maybe some of you guys need it as well. If you try out this recipe, please let me know how it goes. My Instagram's linked down below and you can send me a message. Tell me how you tweaked it, if you tweaked it, or if you're planning some future little things with it. I would love to see what you create. But all in all, I hope you guys enjoyed this video and got some peace out of it. And of course, I hope you all are staying safe and healthy during these crazy times we're living in. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to see you soon. Bye. And I'm closing out this video, even though it's far away.